Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to hop into a short client interview with a past client of mine that has got some amazing results, and then afterward I'm going to break down exactly what we did so you can apply it to your life. So enjoy this interview and then we'll hop back into it. Connor was my client for about 6 months, and Connor, over the past 6 months or so, what would you say has been the biggest thing that you've accomplished?
Overall, I'd say consistency would be the biggest thing I accomplished. I've struggled with that my whole life in finding a consistent regimen or plan to follow, and I would never follow it. But it was until I started working with you, I started to develop that muscle of consistency.
And over that time, what was like the 1 to 2 biggest things that helped you achieve that consistency or helped you get there?
I would say the biggest thing, and it's not really what you'd expect, because most people, like when they want to go on a fitness journey, they're like gung-ho, max amount of effort 100% of the time. The thing that helped me fight the struggle, or however I can answer your question, I'd say the thing that helped me the most is starting small. Because I was able to build on top of that, which honestly, starting small was the best way for me personally to actually do something about it instead of burning myself out doing the most amount of possible.
So building the habits.
Yeah, building the habits, yeah.
And before we started working together, you kind of already talked about this, but what was the biggest thing that you struggled with, or what was the biggest roadblock that you faced?
Yeah, overall, it was just consistency and just deciding like, this is what I'm gonna do. You helped me a lot when it comes to keeping the goal in front of myself, because I would let life kind of take over and get too busy and not prioritize working out, not prioritize eating better, because I would just let life move too fast and take me off of my goal, my plan. But working with you really helped me to, like, it really helped me by setting me up with that accountability. And you were just reminding me, like, one small step, like just make a little bit of progress, and over time it compounds and you start to see big changes.
Okay, so it sounds like a lot of what you've accomplished is like the mindset side of things, and I think that's the most important part. But as far as what you've accomplished in the gym, outside the gym, physically, things like that, what have you seen? What have you accomplished?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons I worked with you is because I was getting ready to go on a 5-day backpacking trip in Yosemite. So I was like really nervous to like take that on, especially with where I was when I first started working with you. But working with you set me up, especially like with like how strong my legs are and the endurance I have hiking. It helped me like to just knock that out of the park. Like I was sore, obviously, because you're walking so much, but it was so much easier than what I was expecting, because I worked with you and spent so much time working on my legs and my back and getting my body ready for that.
That's
and
awesome.
then something else that I've seen is I was not able to really even do pull-ups before working with you, and now I can knock out 3 sets of 8, which I know that's I know that's small, but I'm definitely very proud of that, and I love pull-ups now because of working with you.
Yeah, thank you. And then as far as your waist, what was it, 2.5 inches off your waist?
2.5 inches off my waist, and since I've stopped working with you, the things that you've taught me and the mindset that you've helped me build has helped me keep that consistent, and I haven't gained any weight. My waist has stayed the same, and I've done a pretty good job at just maintaining where I've been. So
that's super important. I think that's one of the most important things, is after you get to where you want to be, how do you maintain that for the rest of your life? So you're crushing it, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, and then last thing, if there was a guy that's struggling with discipline, consistency, maybe wants to honor God with the body that God has given him, what's maybe 1 to 2 things of advice that you would give him?
Yeah, I would say personally, from what I learned working with Noah, and just what I'm going through in life right now, is a lot of the time we'll just sit there and think about it and think about it and think about it. And the question I need to ask myself, and maybe the question you need to ask yourself, is how is God supposed to use anything from us if we're just going to sit there and think about it? So get up and do something, even if it's small. The smallest thing can lead to the next and to the next and to the next. And I would just say, start small, build momentum, and just keep the thing in front of you that you want to succeed.
Very nice. I like it. Thanks, brother. All right, so now you've heard Connor's side of things and some encouragement to you as well. Let's break down a little bit as far as my side of things, what I thought when he came to me and exactly what we did in the process that we took to get him to his goals, and some things that you can do to achieve some similar results. So the first thing that we did is we got all his metrics. So those were starting photos, his weight, his waist measurement, and you can do body fat percentage as well, a body fat test. And then from there, he filled out my onboarding form, which includes some other assessment type things, such as your sleep, your energy levels, what you're doing currently, what your day looks like, different things like that. And so while those aren't necessarily all measurable things, those can also be indicators of improvement through our time working together as well. So we really got a good starting place in line and figure out really what he was doing currently and where he was currently at before we even started. And then from there, I made a rough plan as far as what I thought we needed to do, what some good first steps would be, and where I see it going in the future. And so that plan all goes through my 3-phase process. And I start with a foundational phase, then go into an acceleration phase, which is where we really focus on seeing the results that the client wants. And then we go into an integration phase to integrate now these results that you've gotten and that you've worked hard for, so that you can keep them for the rest of your life. So we're not having this yo-yo of lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, and you never keep the progress. I want you to keep the progress for the rest of your life. So that's kind of what I go through with all my clients, is that 3-phase process. Make sure they're dialed in with that. So with that, the first thing starting out that we did was we started adding water. That was the first very simple step that I knew he was a little bit low on. And so I just had him simply add water. And it's an easy thing to do to move the needle in the right direction. And then from there, I had him start tracking protein. Not trying to improve it yet, just start tracking it. And again, nothing crazy there. And then after he got used to that, got good at that, then we started working on, okay, this week, let's bump it up by 20. And then the next week, bump it up by 20. And as long as he got that, then we bumped it up all the way until about that 180 gram range-ish. That's about where he needed to be, about where his goal weight was and about where he needed to be. And so that's where we got his protein to be, getting to that 1 gram per pound of goal body weight. And notice with all of this, none of it is extreme, none of it is crazy steps that we're changing everything. It's slight adjustments week after week, day after day, and being consistent. And so another big thing that we worked on during this time was the mindset with everything. Working on the mindset, having conversations about why he wants to do this, the purpose behind it all, and aligning that with his beliefs as a Christian man, glorifying God with his body, honoring and stewarding the body that God has given him. And then also, yes, chasing after some big ambitious goals as well, some challenging things. And really with all of this, that is the biggest thing. I say it over and over again, but the mindset is the biggest thing that will get you so much farther than just trying to do all the right things. And so that's really a big piece of the puzzle. But then after that, we slowly began tracking all of his food. So not just the protein now, but all of his calories, everything that he was eating. So he started getting better and better at that. And then from there, we made some small adjustments and some small tweaks for him to hit his macro goals and his calorie goals. And speaking of calories, within all of this, we started working on consistency with calories. I noticed that during the week, he would be pretty low as far as calories. And then on the weekend, those calories would bump up quite a bit. And so what we worked on was fueling him during the week, but then allowing some room and some space on the weekend for him to enjoy the foods that he loves and be able to enjoy the events and different things on the weekend. So it averaged out to be his maintenance calories. And then from there, we slightly lowered his calories for him to lean up a little bit. And as far as the workout and activity side of things, Connor consistently hit 3 days of full body strength training each and every week. And then we also adjusted his steps slightly. We increased them for a while, and then we got to a point where he was able to maintain and be consistent with those steps. And then as far as other things that we haven't talked about, we also worked on his sleep quality, quantity of sleep as well, and then some small things, just little things like stress management here and there, different things like that, depending on the situation, what he needed that week. And during this time, we also worked on getting good micronutrients and whole foods, having a well-rounded diet to make sure that he got all the vitamins, minerals, absolutely everything he needed in his diet during this time as well. So then after Connor got pretty close to where he wanted to be, it was time to learn how to maintain that for the rest of his life. And so what we did for this was continued working on the mindset and consistency. That's something that will never end, that you always should be continuing to work on and improve. And then we also strategically reversed out of his diet phase. And so this isn't something where we just got done dieting and said, all right, now go do whatever. We strategically reversed out of it. And a part of that was learning how to intuitively eat. And so instead of tracking every little detail and every single piece of food that goes into your mouth, we started learning how to intuitively eat. He knew what his goals were. He knew what he needed to eat, but he got to the point where he could just go eat the foods that he needed to eat, didn't have to weigh them out, didn't have to track them, and he was still hitting his goals. And so that was a slow process, kind of weaning off of the tracking a little bit, but he got to where he could intuitively eat and keep up these results now for the rest of his life. So fast forward to today, Connor was able to learn the mindset, the disciplines, consistency, and the skills that it takes to make progress and then to maintain that progress for the rest of his life. And so he's no longer working with me, but he's continuing to crush it. And I'm confident that he'll continue to crush it for the rest of his life. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, be sure to check out the link in the description below. But thank you guys for watching this video and have a blessed day.